Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into something that every single dog owner needs to know inside and out: canine heat stroke. And look, this isn't just about a dog getting a little too hot on a summer day. We're talking about a full-blown, fast-moving, life-threatening emergency.
So let's just start with that question right there. Because when it comes to heat stroke, being able to spot the signs isn't just a nice thing to know. It is literally the difference between life and death for your dog.
All right, first things first, and I really need this to sink in. Heat stroke is not your dog feeling a bit sluggish or warm. It is a true time is everything medical emergency.
So what exactly is heat stroke? Well, think of it like the body's internal air conditioning system completely shorting out. It's a state of severe hyperthermia where the body is taking in so much heat that its natural cooling systems are just completely overwhelmed. They've failed.
And here's a super important distinction. This is not the same as a fever. You see, with a fever, the body is intentionally raising its own temperature to fight off an infection. With heat stroke, the heat itself is the enemy. It's an external force that's literally cooking the body's cells, leading to catastrophic organ failure.
Okay, so let's get into the mechanics of this. What is actually happening inside your dog's body that lets this spiral out of control so unbelievably fast? You know, we humans, we sweat from all over our bodies to cool off. Dogs can't really do that. Their main tool is panting, which is basically their way of using evaporation to cool the blood in their lungs. But, and this is a huge but, if the air is already full of water, high humidity, that evaporation just doesn't work. The whole cooling system grinds to a halt.
And that's when this devastating chain reaction kicks off. It starts with a really simple imbalance. Way more heat is coming in than the body can possibly get rid of. That makes the core temperature skyrocket. At that temperature, the very proteins that make up their cells start to break down, causing damage everywhere. And that cellular damage is what leads directly to major organ systems shutting down.
Vets and scientists generally point to this number 106 degrees Fahrenheit, that's about 41 Celsius, as the temperature where severe damage really starts to set in. But honestly, the real danger isn't just hitting that number, it's how long the body stays that hot. Every single second counts. So this is the really critical part for you as an owner. How does all that internal chaos actually look? What are the warning signs you absolutely have to have burned into your brain?
Now, before we get to the signs, you've got to know that some dogs are just more vulnerable. If your dog is overweight, that extra body fat acts like insulation, trapping heat. If you have a short-nosed breed, think pugs, bulldogs, boxers, their airways are already compromised, making it way harder for them to pant effectively. And of course, any dog with a pre-existing heart or lung condition is at a much higher risk.
Okay, these are the red alerts. You cannot ignore these. We're not talking about the normal panting after a game of fetch. This is frantic, nonstop panting. Watch for any unsteadiness, like they're dizzy or staggering. Look for confusion. Do they seem out of it? And the most serious sign of all, of course, is collapse.
And listen, this is a direct piece of advice from veterinarians. Do not waste a single second fumbling around looking for a thermometer. If you are in a hot situation and you see these signs, that is your signal. The visual proof is all you need. You have to act immediately.
Okay, so you've seen the signs. Your heart is pounding. What do? This is your playbook, step by step, to give your dog the absolute best chance to make it.
Follow these 4 steps to the letter. 1. Get them out of the heat. Now. Into the shade, into AC, whatever you can do. 2. Start soaking their fur with cool or tepid water. Not ice cold, we'll get to that. Just tepid water. 3. Get a fan and point it right at them. You're creating a wind chill effect. And 4, while you are doing all this, have someone else call your vet or do it yourself. Tell them what's happening and that you are on your way. Now, here's a really important detail you might not expect. Your job is to get their temperature out of that extreme danger zone, down to about 103 degrees Fahrenheit or 39.4 Celsius. But once you hit that number, you need to stop the aggressive cooling. If you go too far, you can actually cause hypothermia and shock, which is a whole new emergency. And remember this, what you don't do is just as important.
Stay away from extreme cold like ice packs or dumping them in an ice bath. It sounds like a good idea, but it can cause the blood vessels in their skin to shrink up, which actually traps heat deep inside their body. Just stick to the proven method, tepid water, and a fan.
Let's be really clear about the stakes here and why every single thing you do in those first few minutes is so unbelievably critical for what happens next. Even with the best possible care, the outlook is tough. The data shows that, tragically, somewhere between a quarter and half of all dogs who suffer heat stroke don't survive. It is an absolutely devastating condition.
And here's why it's so deadly. The heat damage is systemic. It hits the whole body. It can cause the heart and blood vessels to fail, trigger a catastrophic blood clotting problem, and lead to kidney failure, seizure. It is a total full-body assault.
But there is hope, and this is such a powerful message for every owner out there. All that first aid you're doing, that frantic rush to the vet, it is all focused on one goal: getting your dog through that first critical 24-hour window. If you can get them through that initial crisis with intensive vet care, their chances of making a full recovery go up dramatically.
So really, the big takeaway here is that knowing all this empowers you to stop a tragedy before it even has a chance to start. So think about it. What's one simple change you'll make? Maybe it's walking earlier in the day, or always remembering to pack extra water, or making a solemn vow to never, ever leave them in a car. Because when it comes to heat stroke, prevention isn't just the best medicine, it's truly the only cure.